Welcome to the world of science fiction where extraordinary tales come to life. Enjoy the journey. The wind howled across the radioactive dunes of Valkyries 9, carrying grit that stung Jace Veldrin's exposed cheeks. He adjusted the cracked visor of his scavenger mask, its filters clogged with the planet's rust-colored dust. Another day, another corpse to loot. The war between the Zorith Legion and the Krillian Concord had turned this sector into a graveyard, and Jace was just another vulture picking at the bones. His boot kicked a half-buried pulse rifle, jammed like everything else here. He tossed it aside. Then a sound froze him. A wet, ragged breath. Not dead. Not yet. Behind a shattered dropship, a figure slumped against the wreckage. Purple blood seeped through her armor's fractures, the sigil of the Krillian Concord barely visible under scorch marks. Her eyes, violet, slit-pupilled, locked onto Jace. A Zorith bounty hunter's blade still jutted from her side. "Human," she coughed. "You smell like engine grease and desperation." Jace snorted. "Charming. You'll fit right in with the other corpses." He turned to leave. Her hand shot out, gripping his wrist with surprising strength. "The Zorith. They're coming for the Ark. If they find it, they'll burn your worlds next." Jace paused. The Ark. Even scavengers knew the myths. A lost human warship, stuffed with pre-collapse tech. Nonsense. But her grip trembled with urgency. "Why tell me?" he muttered. She bared teeth too sharp to be human. "Because you're the only one here." A roar split the sky. Jace looked up. A Zorith gunship carved through the clouds, its searchlights scanning the dunes. The alien, Kasari, she rasped, collapsed against him. "Run or fight. But choose now." Jace cursed. He dragged her into the shadows of the wreck, pulse hammering. The gunship's shadow swallowed them. Jace dragged Kasari through the skeletal remains of an old mining outpost, his muscles burning. The Zorith gunship's searchlights carved through the dust storm behind them, close enough that he could hear the hum of its engines. "If you die on me now," he grunted, "I'm leaving your body for the scavbots." Kasari coughed, her violet blood staining his sleeve. "Your compassion is overwhelming." He shoved her into the shadow of a collapsed refinery tower, pressing them both against the rusted metal. The gunship roared overhead, its floodlights sweeping the dunes. For a breathless moment, Jace was certain they'd been spotted, but then the ship banked sharply, veering toward the eastern wastes. Kasari slumped, her breathing ragged. "They'll regroup. Zorith, don't give up." "Yeah, no kidding." Jace tore a strip from his scav rags and pressed it against her wound. "Now tell me why they're after you. And what the hell is the Ark?" She flinched as he tightened the makeshift bandage. "A weapon. Or a key. Stories differ." Her voice was weak, but her eyes burned with intensity. "My people, the Krillian Concord, found records of it in the ruins of a human colony. The Zorith want it. And if they get it, they'll turn it on Earth." Jace froze. Earth. A dead name to most now, just another relic of the old empires. But he'd grown up on stories of it. Blue skies, green lands, before the collapse scattered humanity like ash. "You expect me to believe humans built something the Zorith are scared of?" He snorted. "Last I checked, we're the ones getting pushed out of every decent star system." Kasari's fingers dug into his arm. "You were more. Once. Before the wars, before the silence." She winced, then reached into a hidden compartment in her armor. A small holocube flickered to life in her palm, projecting a star map. "This is where the Ark is hidden. Or at least, where the trail begins." Jace stared at the glowing coordinates, a derelict station, drifting near the event horizon of a black hole. The Maw. Every spacer knew the stories. Ships that went in never came out. "You're insane," he muttered. Kasari smirked, despite the pain. "Probably. But you're still listening." A distant explosion shook the ground. The Zorith were getting closer. Jace exhaled sharply. "Fine. But if we're doing this, we need a ship, and I know where to find one. The heist in the scrapyards. The only spaceport still standing on Valkyries 9 was a mess of scavenged hulls and patched-up freighters, ruled by a wiry old smuggler named Dravik. Jace had traded with him before, never honestly, but that was the point. Dravik's one good eye narrowed as Jace approached, Kesseri limping behind him. "Veldran, heard you pissed off the Zoreth. That true? Would I be here if I hadn't?" Jace tossed a salvaged energy core onto the counter. "I need the Stormcrow, just for a jump." Dravik laughed, a sound like grinding gears. "That junk heap, she hasn't flown in years. She will today." The smuggler glanced at Kesseri, then back at Jace. "What's in this for me?" Jace leaned in, away off this rock before the Zoreth burn it to the ground. Dravik hesitated, then grabbed the energy core. "You've got 6 hours. After that, I'm gone." The Stormcrow awakens. The Stormcrow was a relic, a cobbled-together frigate with more patch jobs than original parts, but her engines still growled to life when Jace punched in the codes. Kesseri strapped into the co-pilot's seat, her fingers dancing over the alien glyphs on her holocube. "Coordinates set, but we won't be alone." Jace smirked. "Never are." As the ship lurched into the storm-racked sky, the first Zoreth fighters broke through the clouds. The Stormcrow shuddered as it dropped out of warp, its aging hull groaning under the strain. Outside the viewport, the black hole known as the Maw dominated the sky, a swirling abyss of distorted light, its gravitational pull gnawing at the edges of reality. And there, drifting perilously close to the event horizon, was the derelict station. "That's it," Jace muttered, squinting at the jagged metal structure. "The great arc looks like a scrap heap." Kesseri didn't answer. Her violet eyes were locked onto the station, her fingers tightening around the holocube. "There's more here than you see." A proximity alert blared. Jace's hands flew over the controls. "We've got company." 3 Zoreth interceptors emerged from the void, their sleek, predatory shapes gliding into formation. "They followed us," Kesseri hissed. Jace gritted his teeth. "Or you led them here." She shot him a glare but said nothing. "The station's welcome." The Stormcrow lurched as Jace forced it into a reckless docking maneuver, scraping against the station's airlock. The moment the seals engaged, he grabbed his plasma cutter and a scavenged pulse pistol. "Stay close," he growled. The station was a tomb. Dust floated in the stale air, illuminated only by flickering emergency lights. Strange markings, human and alien script fused together, lined the walls. Then, a voice. Identity confirmed. Jace Veldran, last inheritor of Project Ark. The walls shimmered, and a holographic figure materialized before them. A woman with glowing blue eyes and a face that flickered between human and something older. "Nexra," Kesseri whispered, her voice laced with something between awe and fear. The AI tilted its head. "Kesseri of the Krillian Concord, you were not cleared for access." Jace stepped forward. "What the hell is this place?" Nexra's gaze locked onto him. "The Ark is not a weapon. It is a key, a bridge between human and Krillian technology, forged to stop the Zoreth before they could rise." A shudder ran through the station. The Zoreth were boarding. Kesseri's betrayal. Kesseri moved suddenly, snatching a data crystal from a nearby console. "I'm sorry, Jace." He barely had time to react before she slammed her fist into a panel, sealing him inside the chamber with Nexra. "Kesseri," he roared, pounding on the door. Her voice came through the comm, strained. "They have my sister. The Zoreth. They'll kill her if I don't bring them this." Nexra's form flickered. "She has taken the activation codes. Without them, the Ark cannot awaken." Jace's mind raced. "Can you stop her?" "No, but you can." A hidden compartment hissed open. Inside lay an ancient combat suit, its design unlike anything Jace had seen. Human, but not. Nexra's voice was final. The choice is yours, Inheritor. Fight, or let the galaxy burn. Outside, the Zorath ships opened fire. The combat suit clamped around Jace's body like a second skin, its neural interface searing into his nerves. Knowledge flooded his mind. Blueprints, battle strategies, languages he'd never learned. Nexra's voice echoed in his helmet. The armor was yours before you were born. It remembers what you do not. Jace flexed his fingers. The suit responded like a living thing. How is this possible? The Ark was never just a weapon. It was a legacy. An explosion rocked the station. The Zorath were inside. Hunt or be hunted. Jace moved. The suit turned his sprint into a blur. He crashed through the sealed door like it was paper, emerging into a corridor where Zorath soldiers advanced in formation. Their leader, a hulking brute with a scared faceplate, barked orders. Find the Krillian traitor. Kill the human. Jace didn't give them time to aim. The suit's wrist-mounted plasma blades ignited, carving through armor like butter. He moved faster than thought, dodging gunfire, slamming a soldier into the wall hard enough to crack the metal. He wasn't fighting. He was remembering. Kasseri's choice. Kasseri sprinted through the station's lower decks, the stolen data crystal burning in her grip. She had lied. She had betrayed. But the Zorath's promise had been a lie too. Her sister was already dead. The realization had come the moment she saw the Zorath commander smirk. They never intended to honor their deal. A shadow moved behind her. She spun, pulse pistol raised. Jace stood there, his armor slick with Zorath blood. Going somewhere. His voice was cold. She expected him to kill her. Instead, he tossed her a weapon. The crystal's a fake, he said. Nexra switched it. The real codes are still in the core. Kasseri's breath caught. Why help me? Jace's visor retracted, revealing eyes that glowed faintly blue. Because the suit remembers you, and it says you fought beside us once. The Ark awakens. They fought their way back to the core, Nexra guiding them through the chaos. The Zorath commander waited at the door, his warhammer crackling with energy. The Inheritor. I wondered when you'd show yourself. Jace didn't hesitate. Let's finish this. The clash shook the station. The commander was stronger, but Jace was faster, his suit adapting, learning. Then Kasseri struck. Her blade found the commander's weak point, piercing his armor. He fell, snarling. Nexra's voice boomed. Activation initiated. The Ark is online. The station trembled. Light erupted from its core. The Ark's core pulsed like a newborn star, flooding the derelict station with blinding light. Jace shielded his eyes as the suit's visor darkened automatically. Nexra. What the hell is happening? The AI's voice resonated through the chamber, calm yet thunderous. The Ark was never a weapon. It is a beacon, a signal meant to awaken the last remnants of the human Krillian alliance. Kasseri staggered back, her violet eyes wide. That's impossible. The alliance fell centuries ago. Nexra's holographic form expanded, revealing the star map. They went into hiding, waiting for the Inheritor to reignite the war. Outside the station, space itself rippled. The fleet rises. From the void, ships emerged, sleek, ancient, and countless. Their designs were a fusion of human and Krillian engineering, their hulls marked with the sigil of the Lost Alliance. Jace's breath caught. You're telling me we just called in an army? Nexra nodded, one that has waited 1,000 years for this moment. A transmission crackled over the comms. A grizzled human voice spoke. Inheritor. The Zorath fleet approaches Valkyries 9. Orders. Jace looked at Kasseri. You know them better than I do. What's their play? She clenched her fists. They'll scorch the planet rather than let the Ark's signal spread. Jace activated the suit's comm. Then we don't let them reach it. The Battle of Valkyries 9. The Alliance fleet moved like a living thing, cutting off the Zorath advance. Jace and Kasseri boarded a gunship, streaking toward the heart of the battle. The Zoreth flagship loomed ahead, a monstrous dreadnought, its weapons charging. Kasseri checked her rifle. Their shields are weakest at the aft propulsion array. One good hit could cripple them. Jace smirked. Then let's give them a hell of a hit. Their gunship weaved through the chaos, dodging artillery fire. The suit's targeting system locked on. Fire. The missile struck true. The flagship listed, its engines sputtering. The sacrifice. A proximity alert screamed. A Zoreth fighter, mortally wounded, was on a collision course. Kasseri didn't hesitate. She shoved Jace toward the escape pod. Go. He grabbed her arm. Not without you. She smiled, sad, but certain. The Alliance needs its inheritor, and I owe you this. The pod ejected just as the fighter struck. The explosion lit up the void. The aftermath. The Zoreth fleet retreated. Valkyries 9 stood intact. On the bridge of the Alliance flagship, Jace removed his helmet. The crew saluted. Nexra appeared beside him. She saved millions. Jace stared at the stars. We'll find her. The AI paused. Perhaps. But the war is just beginning. The Ark's signal continued to pulse, reaching farther into the cosmos. Somewhere, Kasseri's story wasn't over yet.